It's another delicious day here in the Ginger's kitchen, and I'm getting ready to make some turkey stock. Now, I did a short video of this last year, 2 years ago. 2 years ago I did this, but I wanted to do the full-length version and talk a little bit more about it. Now, I just came out with a short video that kind of explains the difference between stock and broth, and it's basically the stock is bones and the broth is meat. Now, we can take it a little bit further. Some people like to roast their bones, and that is a delicious way to do it. Doing it that way is delicious, and I've done it with beef bones. I'm not going to do that this step. My turkey's been roasted. I'm going to go for it. The reason I'm not going to do it this time is because I found some gizzards at the store on clearance for 51 cents because they had an abundance of them after the holidays, and it's going to just add flavor to my stock. I'm still considering it a stock even though this is meat because I'm putting the bones in, and it's still going to be a little thicker and still have that extra flavor. So these are my ingredients right here. We're starting with carcass of 1 turkey, 2 whole onions. These are yellow. I've trimmed them, but you can leave them whole if you'd like. 4 carrots washed. Got 4 stalks of celery plus the insides. A little extra's not gonna hurt. 10 cloves of garlic peeled and smashed. I've got about 8 sprigs of thyme. I've got some rosemary here. There's like 4 sprigs of rosemary, a bunch of fresh sage. Then I've got peppercorns, 1 teaspoon. There's about 4 leaves of bay leaves. Those are kind of crushed up. And then this is optional. I found some gizzards at the store on clearance for 51 cents because it's the end of the season, and that's just going to add some flavor. So all I'm going to do, I have a stock pot behind me. This is a huge stock pot, and I'm going to put everything in there, just straight in there. It's already about half full with water, and I'm just boiling it. And so everything goes in there whole, just like this. So the full turkey, celery, carrots, onion, all the garlic. Just get all of these herbs in there. Our bay leaves and our peppercorns. We're also going to dump the gizzards in there. I'm going to top this with more water so everything's fully covered and then stir. Okay, everything's in my stock pot. I've got it covered. Gonna bring it to a boil. Once it's boiling, I'll take that lid off, otherwise it's gonna start making a big mess. I want it to cook down some. 3 to 4 hours, this is gonna simmer on a low roll, okay? And then when that's done, you have some options. Now this is a huge batch, but I can it in my canning jars, and I have a pressure cooker. And so it'll last me about a year when I do it that way. And I'm literally on from last year, I'm on my last couple of jars. So it's perfect timing, almost a year later. So here we go. So the canning process, I'm not comfortable teaching that yet. I've done it quite a few times myself, but there's so many steps that I don't want to miss one. It's better if you haven't canned before, get the canner. I get the Presto canner with the book that comes with it, and it tells you step by step what you need to do for each thing that you're canning, because your vegetables are going to be different than your broths and your soups, and there's certain things you can't can. So I'm just not going to go down there yet. Maybe later on when I've done some more canning and I feel a little more confident in it. There's just things that, I mean, if you do it wrong, it could be botulism. You could food poison yourself and your family, so I'm not willing to take that risk. So here we go. That's gonna cook down, and then I'll be back. My stock has simmered for a few hours, and I am happy with the flavor development. It smells and looks delicious, so I'm going to move on to straining it. This is the pressure canner book that I was talking about, and my pressure canner right here. I've got the big one, and so I've got my jar soaking, and that's how I'm gonna process it. You can put yours in the freezer for maybe 3 months. You could put it in the fridge for about up to a week, I would say. So I have a ladle, a sieve, and a spider so that I can get out my broth and the vegetables and kind of strain it. I don't want a bunch of little bits in it, though if you wanted some of your herbs, you could leave it. If you wanted to go even further, you could put it through a cheesecloth in your sieve. But for me, this is good. It's getting the little herb bits and things out of there. The only reason I don't leave them in is I want a clear stock to start with for whatever recipe I'm making. And then I'm going to take the vegetables that are in here, pack them up, cool them off, send them to my mom's for compost. not really wasting. They just kind of come out and end up in that sieve, and I let it strain, get all the delicious flavor out of it. Now you can salt your broth. I tend to not salt it simply because whatever dish I'm making, I'm gonna add the appropriate amount of salt to anyway, but it is absolutely doable if you wanted to. Just use one that doesn't have anti-caking agents in it, especially if you're canning it, because the anti-caking agents will make it cloudy. That's it, our broth is ready to go. Again, you can put it in the freezer in an airtight container for up to 3 months. Make sure you leave room for expansion. Put it in the fridge 5 to 7 days. However much you've made kind of should dictate what you do with it. Is there something you'd like to learn how to make? Tell me what it is down below in the comments. Do you have a variation to this? Do you like to put parsnips in yours? That gives it a totally different flavor. Tell me that down below in the comments as well. Thanks for joining me here today in the Ginger's Kitchen. Have a delicious day.
That's one boy.